WCSH Television, Channel 6, Portland.
This is NewsCenter at 11 with Neila Smith, Richard Rose, Joe Cupo, and Bruce Glasier.
Good evening. Portland is picking up speed.
And the City Council wants to be ready. Today, the city unveiled a plan for an $8 million convention and conference center. NewsCenter's Pat Calahan has the details.
Conventions are big business. When a gathering like the National Governors Association comes to town, it can mean millions of dollars to local restaurants, hotels, and other businesses. Portland wants new facilities to attract this kind of business regularly.
We are already 15 years behind the times, and if we're ever going to compete and get a portion of the market, then we have to be doing it now.
What Mayor Casale and city administrators have in mind is an $8 million convention center, which would most likely be built on this parking lot between Free and Spring Streets. That's just down from the Cumberland County Civic Center. But there are no worries about conflict here. In fact, the Civic Center's management would be hired to run the convention center.
The Civic Center, fortunately, has a lot of traffic, and we're not available during many of the dates that delegates want to use the Civic Center for conventions. And actually, the Civic Center was never designed for the convention business.
The 5-year plan would establish a new tax incentive zone encompassing a property block across from the convention center site. Property tax revenues from proposed developments on this block would be specifically directed toward helping pay off the bonds for the convention center. City officials foresee $50 million in development here over the next 5 years, and that would mean plenty of property tax revenues.
The whole plan will be presented to the Portland City Council for its approval, but there's no timetable for that just yet. Richard?
Cynthia Palmer, now a free woman, wants to get her 6-year-old daughter back. Sarah has been in a foster home for more than a year. She was in the Auburn apartment the day Palmer's boyfriend, John Lane, murdered Sarah's younger sister, Angela. Lane will serve a life sentence, but Cynthia Palmer was acquitted of manslaughter in Bangor yesterday. Today, state officials made it clear they don't want Palmer to have custody of Sarah.
The trial and other instances have demonstrated that Cynthia Palmer is not able to protect her children.
I think the best interests of the child clearly dictate that she get on with a new set of parents and a new life, and hopefully she'll be able to live with as much normalcy as possible.
Human Services Commissioner Petit said caseworkers visited the Palmer home before the murder, but the workers did not think the 4-year-old girl was in any danger. Raphael Bradley Jr. is being held without bail tonight. Today, Bradley pleaded innocent to the charge of murdering Russell Stevens. Stevens' body was found in Oxford 10 days ago. The dead man was from East Stoneham. Bradley was arrested in Florida last week. He was brought back to Maine over the weekend. He faces a probable cause hearing next month. Neila?
The Space Shuttle Atlantis is safely in orbit tonight. The liftoff was right on time, and this is only the second shuttle launch in darkness. The 7-member crew will take next week to practice building space stations and to take a close look at the drought-stricken Africa in search for water.
0 and liftoff. Liftoff of the Space Shuttle.
Roger, rolling. Quite a light show. 2 days after the end of the hijacking of an Egyptian jet, there is still a fair amount of confusion stemming from that ordeal. There is a suspect in custody, a 20-year-old man identified as the leader of the air pirates. He is under heavy security in a Maltese hospital. Egypt's President Hosni Mubarak has said that the hijackers were Palestinians, led by a man now in Libya. He said the hijackers asked to speak to the Libyan ambassador just 20 minutes after the hijacked jet landed in Malta.
The Libyan ambassador was called upon by the hijackers to come to the plane to make a dialogue with him. His government refused, and they recalled him to return back to Tripoli from Malta. And I have no more comments on that.
As many as 6 Americans are still being held hostage in Lebanon tonight, despite the best efforts of Terry Waite. The Anglican churchman has been trying to negotiate the release of the Americans. Today he met with Vice President George Bush. He briefed Bush on his meeting with the hostages' captors. Waite advised caution.
What he's done in the past and for what he's been through.
I think that no attempt must be made by the United States to any way intervene by the use of force to try and seek that sort of a solution. And as far as I know, there's absolutely no intention of the United States doing that.
Waite says the U.S. has so far taken the correct approach, with the Reagan administration remaining calm. 15 police officers were seriously injured tonight in Athens, Greece, when a car bomb blew up next to a fully loaded police van. 7 officers were not hurt. The blast also severely damaged nearby cars and buildings. The bomb went off moments after a crowd of anarchists marched in the Greek capital of Athens. They were demanding the release of 16 people arrested after a recent protest.
President Reagan does not like it when he hears his strategic defense initiative referred to as Star Wars, and neither does filmmaker George Lucas. But a federal judge says it doesn't matter. The judge ruled today that Star Wars can be used by the public and the press to describe the defense system, even though it is a trademark owned by George Lucas. So what can you do?
Hardly nothing.
The courts win.
Right. Coming up, a cleanup plan for the Winthrop Dump has been approved.
We will tell you about safe toys for the holiday season.
And later, you may not realize it, but it's comet time. Stay with us. The Winthrop Town Dump is going to be cleaned up. Today, federal officials revealed the Inmont Corporation agreed to pay most of the $6 million cleanup cost. Inmont dumped chemical wastes at the site. Impermeable clay and topsoil will be used to cap the dump. Groundwater will be checked for contamination and treated if necessary. Neila?
2 people are in the hospital tonight following a head-on collision today that left 1 woman dead. Juliet Bolvier of Lewiston was a passenger in a car driven by her husband. They were traveling on Route 100 in New Gloucester this afternoon when they were hit. The driver of the other car and the Bolvier's husband are both in stable condition. No charges have been filed. All the recent spying arrests have prompted the Pentagon to look into the way it protects its secrets. Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberger has ordered special security precautions for Pentagon employees who work with coded material. The Defense Department has also launched a special damage assessment for the most recent spy cases. Richard.
The Christmas season's one time of year, people pay special attention to the toys they buy for kids. A panel of government and industry toy specialists is weighing in with some holiday hints. They say making sure a toy is right for a child is one way to ensure that presents are enjoyable and safe. As you may know from first-hand experience, the Internal Revenue Service had its problems this year. There were reports of mutilated refund checks and late returns. Congressional investigators have now confirmed these reports.
The report substantiates the allegations of the destruction of documents, including on one day, on one spot check, finding $333,000 in trash barrels that were going to the dump.
The problems are being blamed on inadequate staffing and computer foul-ups. The IRS says the problems have been fixed.
I don't know whose problem this is, but Joe Cupo is up to tell us about the mess outside coming right up.
And Bruce says he has everything, including the Celtics and college basketball, when we come back.
In just a few minutes, 11:39 tonight to be exact, Halley's Comet is expected to make its closest approach to Earth during its current inbound voyage toward the sun. The moonlight may block the view, and in our case, the clouds may block the view, but for you comet enthusiasts, we don't want you to be left out. Al Roker has a look at Halley's relationship with some of the historic events.
Halley predicted that a comet that had been sighted in 1682 would return again in 1758. Now, even though Halley knew when the comet would come, it's just recently that we've learned just what a comet is.
The dirty snowball. This consists mostly of ordinary ice with a little admixture of other kinds of ice, like frozen ammonia, frozen cyanogen, and so on. But, you know, maybe 85 to 90% frozen ice. And mixed in with it are bits of dust, pieces of gravel, and so on. That's what makes it a dirty snowball.
The appearance of comets throughout history have been recorded in works of literature and in art. And a lot of that art and literature has been gathered here under one roof at the Air and Space Museum of the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. With the interest in comets reaching a fever pitch because of the approach of Halley's Comet, this gallery exhibit comes at a right time, and it's called Fire and Ice. The exhibit took 3 years to research and put together. It shows how comets, and Halley's Comet in particular, have been portrayed throughout history, like Giotto's adoration of the Magi. Was the Star of Bethlehem a comet? Or was Halley's Comet a signal of the fall of Jerusalem to the Roman Empire in 66 AD? And in this ancient tapestry depicting the Battle of Hastings, could Halley's Comet have been an ill omen that helped the Normans conquer England? Well, this go-round, Halley's Comet will be enhanced by exhibitions like this.
Spooky stuff.
I remember that 1066,
really?
the last time England was ever successfully conquered by anyone.
Were you there? No, you remember it from grade school.
Right, exactly.
Now, if you did want to go out and learn a little history or watch Halley's Comet, I suppose you better make sure you have enough clothes on.
Well, and plus good eyes to see through the clouds, because there is no sky to be seen tonight. It's totally overcast now in Portland. The cloud base is 2,800 feet. The temperature at 11 o'clock, a whopping 28 degrees. Relative humidity, 63%. The wind, well, there's not much of that, as you can see. It's out of the north at 6 miles an hour. Barometric pressure, 30.06 inches, and it is falling. As of 10:30, the latest radar report I could receive, still showing some light freezing rain and freezing drizzle over the southern half of New Hampshire and also the southern tip of Maine. Most of it confined to York County and the southern part of Cumberland County. Now, this is where roads are going to be the most slippery tonight because temperatures, as you can see, are below freezing everywhere. Now, north of there is some very light snow being spitted out by the atmosphere, but really nothing to get too excited about. And way north in Rumford and Augusta, they haven't seen anything, and chances are I don't think they're going to as the night goes on. Notice to the west, still some freezing rain over parts of Vermont. Same thing in New York. This should be around through the night. So again, in the areas that I just mentioned, southern and central New Hampshire, extreme southern Maine, be careful driving if you're going out tonight or even early tomorrow morning. Let's have a look at the marine forecast from the National Weather Service. They're calling for variable wind at 5 to 15 knots. That wind will become north to northeast later tonight and then north to northwest during the day tomorrow. Seas are going to run 2 feet or less, and visibility quite variable, but down to between 1 and 3 miles in all the precipitation. Check out the high and low temperatures for the 2 states today, and I'll tell you, this is getting kind of obnoxious. High temperatures mostly in the low 30s, and you might say, well, okay, it's late November, this is normal. The normal high in Portland for today is 43, and as you can see up there, we only had a high of 31. But I'll tell you, that's nothing. Now, up until today, the record low temperature in Bismarck, North Dakota was 1 degree below zero. Record low. Today, they had a high of 9 below. Can you imagine? The high temperature for today did not even break the record low. That is cold. Temperatures remaining below zero in many spots across Montana, North Dakota, and northern Minnesota. In the east, it's the same old scenario. We've seen this about 3 times in the last 2 weeks. High pressure just to the north of us gave a great day to Caribou. All kinds of sunshine up there. Low pressure with a frontal system to the south. The moisture comes up, or warmer air overrunning colder air at the surface, and the result, of course, is what we've got right now. Now, this high was just close enough tonight to keep the precipitation to a minimum, and all this will be passing off the coast tomorrow morning, leaving us with, I think, just a lot of clouds, few breaks developing in the afternoon. But, look, another high, another low, coming to the east, and that should be setting up for Thanksgiving Day, so that night, or late in the afternoon that day, things look like they're going to get messy again. Hey, look at my forecast, you'll see what I mean. For tonight, again, freezing rain or drizzle in the areas that I pointed out earlier. Low temperatures are going to remain, for the most part, below freezing on a north to northeasterly wind, 5 to 10 miles an hour. There may be some light snow or sleet mixing in, nothing to get too excited about. For tomorrow, all this, some drizzle hanging around in the morning, but for the most part, it's just going to be a cloudy day with breaks appearing in the clouds during the afternoon, especially as you head into the northern regions by Augusta and north and northeast and northwest of there. Highs will be in the upper 30s, northerly winds. For tomorrow night, clouds broken, low temperatures will be in the low 20s, but then look for clouds to roll back in here on Thursday. I'm looking for snow or sleet to develop in the afternoon, which will probably change over to freezing rain and then change over to rain on Friday. Wow. Okay, here's the almanac data for Portland Harbor. Low tide at 4:41 tomorrow morning. High tide is at 10:50 and low tide again at 5:12 tomorrow afternoon. We're now down to 9 hours and 17 minutes. I'll tell you, never a dull moment, Richard.
No, weather is exciting.
And I really wasn't around in 1066. If I were, I'd never get the weather wrong. You know?
Or you preserve yourself rather well. Okay, thanks a lot, Joe. Coming up, Bruce, he's got the Celtics. Stay with us. Yogi Berra is known for his offbeat remarks. Today, the impact of one such yogiism could be seen on the former Yankees lawn. All over the lawn, that is. A truck full of potatoes was unloaded right in front of Yogi's house. The spuds were sent by North Dakota farmers. They sent them after Berra visited their state and allegedly said, "You don't have enough potatoes to fill my front lawn." Well, I guess Yogi was wrong. The potatoes were taken away and given to charity.
A lot of potato chips coming out of that, I guess. Very strange.
It's a Yogi story.
I was just thinking of what other states exports. He could have been in real trouble.
That's true.
You'll never talk about potatoes again.
No.
How about you talk about basketball?
Philadelphia 76ers showed their age just a bit tonight. Celtics beat them for the second time in as many tries this season, 98-91. Celtics go on a fast break with Larry Bird. Watch his beautiful hook pass to Kevin McHale. Right there, McHale with a lay-in. Sam Vincent, seeing more and more floor time, gets himself in high gear, penetrates the D for two. Swish. Celtics went up by 10 in the opening quarter. Bird with a pass to his favorite receiver, Kevin McHale. He puts in 2 more. He had a game-high 20 for the Celts. Second quarter, Sixers rally a bit. Dr. J hypnotizes Boston with a short jumper. End of the half, 4 seconds left. Clem Johnson says Sedell 3, who takes the jumper at the buzzer. It rolls in. Jeff Barkley now just awful on defense as Parrish eats him up for the bucket, but you can't the round mound play. Oh, he goes between his legs around Bill Walton in the jumbo jam. Philly tried to rally late, but the Celts had too much. McHale blows past Moses Malone as Boston wins their 12th, 98-91. Other NBA action tonight, it was Atlanta over the Knicks, 104-94. Dominique Wilkins of the Hawks has his shot blocked by Johnny Orr, who passes ahead to Rory Sparrow, to Patrick Ewing with this high percentage shot. Can't miss those. Wilkins is mad now. He just tears down the rebound, says, "I'll do it myself," and he goes coast to coast for the layup. Wilkins, he's a lot of fun to watch. Plays one-on-one with Orr, then pops one over for 2. Atlanta over the Knicks, 104-94. Houston blow out Golden State, 130-108. Warrior Joe Barry Carroll with a blind pass to Purvis Short for the bucket. Then Chris Mullen with a little turnaround, but a little intimidation here as he misses by about 2 feet. Ralph Sampson with a loose ball outlet to Chris Elo, who misses the bunny, but Mitchell Wiggins follows for the hoop as they go on to win it. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Detroit over Cleveland by a score of 113-98, and Dallas defeated Washington 112-99. Forget about North Carolina and all the talk about the Tar Heels. Forget about Georgia Tech. The highest scoring college team in the nation for the past 2 years won again tonight. The St. Joseph's Monks rolled over Husson College 115-79. The Monks, averaging 105 points per game, got their 3rd win against 0 losses. Husson now 2-1. Let's take a look at some of the action of that game. Tyrone White, the Monks' talented freshman, steals the ball here and goes in for the lay-in. Tyrone, a Porland High boy. Husson on the attack works the ball to Randy Wadley. He gets 2 of his 12 points. Then St. Joe's Mike Fiorello to the alley-oop to Jeff Creech for the bucket. Creech had 36. Husson's Tony Mishu goes through the lane for a couple. Mishu with 12. Creech shows he can pass as he hits Charles Warren on the reverse. Nice shot. Fiorello now knocks it away. Tyrone picks it up. Dave Chadbourne for a couple. The Monks are on a roll, 115-79 over Husson College. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Michigan State over the University of Maine, 89-58. A close ball game for a short time. Maine trailed by 9, got blown out in the second half. Jimmy Boylan, Jeff Holmes, 12 points apiece. Bowdoin, 56. UMaine Farmington, 43. Dave Burton, 13 for Polar Bears. They're 1-0. SMVTI, 71. New Hampshire VTI, 61. And New Hampshire over UMass, 57-54. And women's college basketball, Bowdoin over UMaine Farmington, 56-47. And Bates beat Husson, 71-57. Nationally, #1 North Carolina, 110, Iona 67. I want to see North Carolina play St. Joe's. #4, Syracuse 96, Cornell 62. #6, Duke over William and Mary 84-61. And #7, Illinois over Loyola 95-64. Suffolk University held off a strong USM comeback tonight for a 5-4 Division III college hockey win. Suffolk dominated the early going in this game, jumping to a 3-0 lead after the first. Steve Acone will get the puck behind the net, center in front to Jimmy Carfagno for the goal, 1-0 Suffolk. Then leading 2-0 Suffolk again late in the first period. Dave Colodi in front will tip it past USM goalie Danny McKenzie. Now, USM got goals from Greg Lovejoy, Eddie Harding, and 2 from Phil Geraldstein, and they outshot Suffolk 45-32, but they lost the game 5-4. Some other college hockey scores. Boston College, Harvard tied 4-4. Yale over New Hampshire 6-3. National Hockey League tonight in the 3rd period. The St. Louis Blues, oh, excuse me, I forgot. I left Bowdoin off there. Bowdoin won tonight 6-3, and we'll get back to that score in a second. Bowdoin won anyway. Blues start out as they defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1. And defeated them actually 5-1. They start out in the break 3-on-1. The pass to Federico, backhands it home. Blues lead at 1-0. They made it 2-zip when Dave Lockhart with a nice pass in front to Doug Rogers scores to make it by 4-1. And they go on to win it 5-1. Let's take a look at the scoreboard in the National Hockey League. Calgary over Quebec 3-1, and New Jersey defeated Winnipeg 4-3. Now, sources close to Portland High Athletic Department and to the football team told NewsCenter tonight that this Thursday would be the last game for Portland coach Jackie Garvin. According to sources, Garvin, one of the more successful coaches at Portland High, will not reapply for his football coaching job next season. And the highlight of Garvin's Bulldog coaching career, which started in the fall of '80, was Portland's state championship team of 1982. Thursday, Portland 4-4 will take on the Deering Rams 4-4 in the annual Thanksgiving Day game. And Brendan Hickey had the hat trick as Bowdoin beat St. Anselm's 5-2. I knew I'd get it.
Glad you got that in, Bruce. Thank you very much. We'll be right back. That is NewsCenter at 11. I'm going to get attacked here by Bruce, who wants me to remind you that tomorrow he will have his annual nostalgic look at the Portland Deering annual football game.
Cliff Reynolds tomorrow at 6:30. Thank you for being there.
Okay.
Time to remember, time to be together, time to share. November 24th through November 30th is Family Week, a special time.
Here is an editorial from Channel 6.
Ellsworth High School has a smoking lounge. Portland bans students smoking on school grounds. Both Portland and Ellsworth are at a smoker's crossroad. Portland considered an alternative to its ban, and for the dumbest of reasons. It seems that neighbors have complained about a litter problem. Because of the smoking ban on school grounds, some students gather on adjacent property and light up. They leave a mess. Private property owners don't like the mess, so the school board took a second look at its no smoking on school property ban. We think that a brief encounter with littering and loitering regulations would control off-school grounds problems. Portland agreed to stay the course. No smoking on school grounds. Ellsworth and other school systems ought to adopt no smoking policies as well. Smoking on school property only encourages young people to start the nicotine habit, a habit school systems and teachers ought to be discouraging.
That's our opinion. We welcome yours.